Another Leinster win, another tight game, and another win pulled from the fire for Leinster. And also another video from me. So Leinster's defence coach Jacques Nienaber and scrum-half Luke McGrath were up today for media. This is ahead of their clash with Connacht next Saturday, the 24th of January at 5:30 at the Dexcom Stadium with that big grand opening of the Clan Stand. So here are some of the main talking points from that media session today. First up was the injury update. So some good news. Kieran Frawley and Jack Conan are due to return to training this week, and they will be available for selection for the Connacht game. Then looking at some of the players that were injured in that Bayonne match, Jimmy O'Brien, hamstring issue, Robbie Henshaw, knee issue, Tommy O'Brien, calf issue, and Tyke Furlan with that long-standing calf issue again. They're all due to further be assessed this week, and a final decision on their availability will be made towards the end of the week. There was also an update on Hugo Keenan and Jamie Osborne. They're both increasing their on-field training exposure as they continue the recoveries from those long-term injuries, although they won't be available for selection this week. And then there were no further updates on Ryan Baird, Jordan Larmour, Paddy McCarthy, Andrew Porter, and Rabah Slimani. Next up was just a look back at Leinster's 13-22 win over Bayonne. Neither sugar-coated the win. Luke McGrath felt that those early chances that were missed in the first half were crucial, and they were key to that lack of momentum for Leinster in that first half. He said there were definitely opportunities we left out there in the first half. We weren't clinical enough. Again, that phrase clinical coming back up in regards to Leinster. Although he did confirm that the conditions didn't help, that it was greasy, slippery ball out there due to the rain and the conditions. However, he felt that Leinster did kick well, and also he went on to praise the work of the pack towards the latter end of the game. He said the pack kind of took over, our maul was going really well, and that seemed to be the winner of the game towards the end. Luke McGrath was also really impressed by his first time playing at the Stade Jean Daugé. Leo Cullen had raved all week about the atmosphere in the stadium that he'd experienced back in November when he went there with his family, and it didn't seem to disappoint for Luke McGrath. He said it was one of the best atmospheres I've seen. Obviously, I was on the bench, so I could just look around and watch the music going on and the amazing atmosphere. You can see why they're such a difficult team to beat at home. So it's job done in Europe for Leinster. For Jacques Nienaber, Europe is parked. Now that Leinster are into that last 16, the box is ticked. He said, our aim was to get out the pool stages and we've achieved that. So there was no talk of knockout rugby from him. His focus was firmly back on the URC this week. He said, Europe's done for now. There's 5 URC games before we go back for that game against Edinburgh at home. Leinster are currently 5th in the URC, and they face Connacht, who are currently 12th in the URC. Another talking point was winning the barroom brawls. I loved that was RTE's Michael Glennon's way of summing up Leinster's recent wins. Those messy games, those arm wrestles, having to really battle towards the end of the match. And it was something that Jack didn't deny. It wasn't something that he would particularly like. He said, you'd probably like to have it done and dusted at half time, but that's not the case. But one thing he was really pleased about was how the players kept finding ways to win. He felt that players trust the process and trust each other. Similarly, Luke McGrath felt the same way. He said the best teams find a way to win, and we are finding a way to win. And he just confirmed that a lot of the messages in that last 15 minute portion of the game were coming from the players themselves. There was the odd thing. He mentioned Sean O'Brien on the sidelines, but it seemed to be most of the problem solving is happening on the pitch, which is good to see. So the wins haven't been perfect, but those results keep coming for Leinster. And again, a real positive from that has been that adaptability and problem solving. They spoke about living with disruption, especially from injuries, players dropping out just before kickoff, meaning a lot of players are playing out of position. Look at Luke McGrath, he came on and played on the wing at the weekend after Jimmy O'Brien went off injured. And Jack was really impressed by that flexibility from the players. He said, we had to play a big part of that game with Luke on the wing. I think that's where the credit must go to this week. And he nailed it, coming on and handling high balls and playing out of position. So I think that was brilliant from his side. And Jack also confirmed that problem solving had been a key part of their preparation. He said, we create weird scenarios in training, then the players adapt. We said that prep only gets you so far. He said, you can come up with a plan, but then the player still has to nail it. Luke McGrath and Sam Prendergast, who came on and was playing a fullback both last week against La Rochelle and this weekend, seemed to have done exactly that. And then speaking of Sam Prendergast, that number 10 debate for Ireland rolls on. Andy Farrell names his Six Nations squad this Wednesday, and that number 10 jersey still doesn't seem to be nailed down, only a few weeks out from that opening game against France in the Six Nations. Between Jack Crowley, Sam Prendergast, Harry Byrne, and possibly Kieran Frawley back also. However, Andy's selection at fly half is out of Jack's hands, but he had spoke about how impressed he had been with the mindset of both players. He said they are competing, but the competitiveness is very healthy. So there's no ego battle, it seems, between the two. He said, what's best for the team? That's always the question. Nobody, no player, no coach can be bigger than Leinster. I also got a chance to ask Luke McGrath what it's like having both Sam and Harry on the pitch at the same time, especially from a scrum-half's perspective, or should we say part-time winger from Saturday. And he said, as a 9, it's a dream having them both on the pitch. The two of them are so good at communicating what they want. I thought when they both came on the pitch against La Rochelle, you saw the 2 tries scored in the last 10 minutes, and that was down to them finding the space. So they work really well together. So while it's a headache for Andy Farrell, it seems having Sam and Harry battling out at Leinster is benefiting them. And then for the challenge this week in the URC, Connacht at the Dexcom, it's the grand opening of the Clan stand. Jack said, it's always tough in Galway. All the Interpros are like proper test matches. And he also said it's a privilege to play in an occasion like that, meaning the grand opening of the new stand. We've heard about how proud and impressed the Connacht players have been with the stadium overhaul. So his message to the Leinster squad this week is to embrace the opportunity. And Luke McGrath agreed. He said, we love playing in these atmospheres. It should be a brilliant game. Everyone's buzzing for it, really. And he's also looking forward to playing on the Connacht pitch. He said the AstroTurf is brilliant. It brings a nice fast game. So hopefully we should see some good attacking from both sides on Saturday. The Leinster scrum half was also impressed by Connacht's Ben Murphy and Matthew Devine. And he said they're both really attacking the lines nice and quick. And I think Stuart Lancaster is only going to make them better and better as well. 2 young guys, and I wish them all the best. Maybe not this week, he joked, but I do wish them all the best going forward. So we know Connacht will be fired up. Hopefully Leinster can really bring their A game and we get a cracker of a match to mark the opening of the new stand. I really wish I was going, but my travel budget has been maxed out. More on that soon. But for both Jack and Luke, they both agree that they know the team needs to improve. Luke McGrath said, we know we have to get better if we want to win trophies. But looking back at last year, maybe it's better to be making those mistakes now rather than just steamrolling through the start of the season, like with the nilling of Harlequins and Glasgow, but not being able to overcome the challenges of the latter end of the season. We're currently only halfway through the season, and as those wins keep stacking up for Leinster, so are the opportunities to learn under pressure. Luke McGrath said, it's just really pleasing that we're on this really nice run. But the important thing is that we learn from every one of these games. So while Leinster aren't cruising like we've seen them in previous seasons, they seem to be adapting and problem solving and grinding out the wins still. So who would you like to see feature for Leinster against Connacht? Add your selections in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye now.